Trey Hendrickson will report to Bengals camp today, ending his holdout. It surprised me because he never should have held out.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with the Bengals. And this isn't, and you know how I stand, players should get paid. And players should use every bit of leverage available to them to get paid. But when you're dealing with a team where they're just not going to care,
right.
Most teams, if you withhold services, they will become rattled at some point. They will become concerned at some point. They will pay you at some point if you withhold services long enough. The Bengals don't care. And he was going to be Hassan Reddick. Just like last year. All that money lost, non-waivable daily fines, game checks lost, and then you do some deal when you come back to try to save face and make some of it back, and you never do. So he did the smart thing. He just should have done it from day one.
Right.
To cut off the $50,000 a day non-waivable fine and to position himself for something. And I mean, I don't think that, like, oh, it's a show of good faith. So the Bengals won't change a thing. Their offer is their offer, and you either take it or you don't. I don't see them bending. I don't see them bowing because it's all about who's the boss and who's in charge.
Right.
And Trey Hendrickson caved, and it's a bad look, but it's his only play.
I think it's his only play. Yeah, I think he realizes everything you just said, that this is a team that has a history of this. They've had a history of saying, so what, you're not here, we're going to move on. The game of football will move on, and the hell with it, and we're going to get, just keep moving forward. The only person I've ever really seen make the Bengals uncomfortable is the guy that's playing quarterback there. He's the only guy that seems to be like, oh, gosh, Joe's not going to come. Oh, he might leave us. Uh-oh, we better give him what he wants. And maybe Jamar Chase had a little bit of that as well, as much as they tried to drag their feet on that contract situation for a while, too. But, yeah, I think Trey Hendrickson looked at it like that. I think, if he wants to get what he wants or a little sweetener on top, maybe he thinks, hey, if I go there, good faith, get ready, show that. Maybe they give me a little bit more guarantees for year two. I don't know.
He doesn't have anything beyond this year, but you're saying for the contract offer.
For the contract offer, right?
Because reportedly, there's no guarantees beyond this year.
Year one, right. So that seems to be the big issue. But yeah, hopefully this is the start of them rectifying this whole situation. Because I want to see Trey Hendrickson there. I would, just like we just talked about the Chargers and all that. I want to see the Bengals at their best. I do. I mean, they're one of those few teams that we sit there and go, man, with that quarterback and the way they played at the end of the year and their history against the Kansas City Chiefs and that they don't flinch when they play Mahomes and company there. The game is fun. And when Joe Burrow's in the playoffs with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, I mean, damn, sign me up. So I want to see that, and I want to see the Bengals at their best.
We have entered the era of the conscious hold-in, and many are assuming that Trey Hendrickson, now that he will show up, will not practice until he has a new deal. Again, with most teams, yes.
Right.
With the Bengals, and there's something I've mentioned from time to time, and I don't think I've ever made a big deal about it, but I know that last year when Jamar Chase was holding in, they were fining him for not practicing.
Right. I remember you saying that.
And it was a big, ugly mess. And, because they're like, well, and these can't be waived. You have to pay him. And there was a fight over whether or not they were waivable. It's like, hey, folks, go read the damn CBA. They are waivable. He's on his rookie contract. They are waivable fines. But that was a big thing. And they were offering him a good APY, but the structure was crap, and it was just as bad. But the whole not practicing thing, it was not like in some places the team and the player are on the same page because, as we've said before, the team's happy he's there. And once you're there, it's harder to leave.
It is.
If you don't show up, it's easier to not show up. Once you show up, it's harder to leave under the CBA. So they're happy. He's there. He's in meetings, and we'll get this worked out. But the Bengals aren't like that. The Bengals are going to expect him to get his helmet on and get his ass to the practice field and make up for lost time.
This will be the next piece of the puzzle to see where this goes or where this relationship is at. I mean, I'm interested. There's a part of me that likes the hold, and I know I've told you that before. We've talked about it here. I feel like it really started almost back when Saquon Barkley and the Giants had their situation. I think you remember I was on here going, Saquon, please go to camp. Get yourself in shape, be ready to go so you can put yourself in the best position to strike it rich for the Eagles. And, we could screw that up as the Giants and all of that and for the future. There is something there where, I'd be interested to see if maybe Trey Hendrickson just does like individual drills, does stuff like that, where, hey, you get to work on your craft, but you take away a big percentage of the injury possibility because you're not in a scrum and people are going to be falling, hey, one-on-one against an offensive tackle, the walkthrough, some of the drills against the blocking dummies and the bags, right? There's some stuff there that are definitely valuable for a guy like Trey Hendrickson and get him going. Will he do 11 on 11? And when they're running like power left and now he's got to take on a pulling guard and lower his shoulder and take that on and do that, that's a whole different ballgame in practice, game, whatever. And that's the part I wonder, will he do that or will he do anything or is he just going to go to meetings and, hopefully we'll get a little feel for that today.
I think the Bengals will not stand for it, and that may be the next skirmish. I'm not practicing. Here's your fine letter.
Well,
then it becomes the I'm injured.
Well,
I've got a
that's
hamstring.
where he almost has to.
My back is tight.
He almost has to start that way. That if I was advising a player in this situation, I'd go in there going, "Hey, I'm going to try to give it a go, but I've been a little tight in my hamstring, and my back's not feeling great lately." That's your way. Start it there. So then, okay, I did some drills, but God, yeah, coach, that back, it's a little sore. I'm going to miss the period here where they're going to run smash mouth football down my throat here for the next few plays, right? I think you almost have to do something like that. I really do.
Hell, I did that 50 years ago, not for money because I didn't want to do it.
Coach. My hip hurts.
The Bengals won't play that game either, I predict. Earlier this year, and this was some of the stuff that Pablo Torre and I collaborated on during our break, which was not a break. I was friggin' busier during our break than I am when we're together. But the grievance against the union that was filed by the league because J.C. Treader on Ross Tucker's podcast 2 years ago saying, hey, you got to build all the leverage you can, and if you're not happy with your contract situation, I can't tell you to fake an injury, but hey. And the NFL filed a grievance, and the NFL won. Slam dunk. Slam dunk.
Right.
You can't say these things. You can't encourage players to violate their contracts. And if the Bengals don't like what Hendrickson's doing, they'll slap that grievance on the table, and they'll say, we're calling BS on you. We know what you're doing. You're not injured. And so I just feel like the Bengals, again, it's about power, and they want him to say uncle. And that doesn't mean pretending to say uncle on the way through the door. That means showing up, standing on the table, full-throated uncle. And that means practicing, and that means not pretending to be injured, and that means taking whatever their best offer is. And that's what he's put himself in position to do. Before week 1, he's going to take their best offer, whatever it is.
Right.
And they're only going to sweeten it if here you want to get them to, hey, Trey Hendrickson, you want some free advice? Here's how you get them to sweeten the offer. You show up in practice. You don't pretend to be injured. If you're injured, you play through it. You show up and you show out, and then maybe they'll throw in a little more.
Maybe.
Because you showed up, you cried uncle, you kissed the ring, and you demonstrated and submitted to the power of the team. Because that's all this is about.
I hear you there. I mean, you're right. You're right in that aspect. I wonder if that. I mean, it's going to take him a few days to get in shape, so I don't think they can just throw him out and into the fire right away. They're going to have to let him do some stuff and take it a little slow. No, but I'm interested. Does he go full throttle like you're saying and go for it and kiss the ring and then maybe get the sweetener? Does he just do things that he thinks are good to keep him safe and healthy but gets him in shape? And then, again, I'm going to bring it up. The X factor here is like, okay, if he does things and get in shape and the Bengals try to be a jerk about him, he's doing individual drills, but he's just like, hey, my back's not right, or I'm not ready for 11-on-11 football. I will say the Bengals are different because I do think Joe Burrow will back him up in a big way. And I think him and Jamar Chase will all back him up, and they will turn that locker room against Mike Brown and company. That's where the Bengals are a little different, and I don't think Joe B is too scared to say or speak his mind in some of these situations, and that's where I maybe give my scenario a fighting chance.
Well, Joe B didn't do enough to get a deal done without Trey Hendrickson showing up.
Yeah.
So I think that the Bengals' message to Joe B is be happy we paid Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Right.
Leave the rest of it to us.
Right.
Because he didn't do anything with Shamar Stewart. I mean, he just said generally it's disappointing that it's happening, but he didn't take a stand.
No.
Publicly. Privately, who knows? But Hendrickson's the one who's caving, not the team. So if Joe Burrow did do something privately, it didn't work.
Yeah, no,
because unless Hendrickson understands, and this is he's playing the game, he's kissing the ring, and they're going to do something to increase whatever that was to a level. We know he's due to make 16. They had offered 28.
Right.
What is going to be that final number? And I know he wants more than 28. And maybe the TJ Watt deal makes the Max Crosby money more justifiable. I think they get to 30 or some, maybe some phony back end year to make it look a little better, make it look like a win for him. Exactly. I don't know, but he's going to have to take the best offer that's on the table before week 1. Period.
Yeah, it might just be that. We haven't seen the Bengals cave too much in history here.
No.
I know that we want to see them.
And that's why they do it. It's about power and precedent. Mm-hmm. We don't want to give the power to the players because the next guy is watching what this guy does.
Yeah,
and we don't want the next guy to think there's a way to benefit from trying to stick it to us. All right, we're going to take a break. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.